One evening, my friends, Jake and Tom, and I went fishing. We'd always go high. So yeah, this might make you side-eye this story, but I swear, I know what I'm talking about. This is 100% true, no bullshit. We had been wandering around all night, not getting a single bite. No bites, just cold fishing rods and used up bait. The sky was completely dark, not a hint of the sun left. Finally, we headed to the pier in town. It's an old, rickety structure. The wood is bent and worn, the posts slimy with seaweed, sticking out over dark, rough water. We drove the old truck up, grabbed our equipment, and stumbled out, laughing from the weed, smoke still around us. We crept halfway down, the boards creaking beneath our sneakers, set up our rods, baited the hooks with worms, and waited. That's when I looked down toward the end. I saw this kid, about 16, my age at the time, fishing alone, wearing a hoodie, just doing his own thing. He seemed calm. Then I saw two people, a man and a woman, or so I thought. They were harassing him, standing close. He kept moving, nervous, while they leaned in, talking quietly. It looked like trouble. Small towns have a lot of wacky people, so I didn't think much of it. I felt an urge to walk over. Better luck at the end, I said to myself, loaded up my rod, turned to the boys. Switching spots. They shrugged, too stoned to complain, sprawled on the pier with their lines limp. I went up, a fishing bag slapping my leg. Walking, the man brushed past me, fast, almost running. He was muttering, cursing under his breath, stuff like, "Bloody kid, watch yourself." His eyes flicked to me, wild and glassy, reeking of booze and sweat. All right, psycho, I thought, brushing it off. Continued on. Then I saw her, the woman. She was sitting cross-legged on the planks, facing away. A chill ran through me. The air felt heavy, pressing on my chest. She was combing her hair with this gold comb, ornate, catching the dim pier lights like it was alive. She had an old silver mirror in her other hand, antique with a carved handle, edges chipped and tarnished. Middle of the night, no moon, just shadows and waves, and she was fixing herself up like she was on stage. How could she see? My high soured instantly. I wanted to bail. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but turning around now looked wimpy. So I worked around her, staying wide, and set up beside the kid. He looked over, gave a weak nod, close up. His face was worse, pale as a corpse, eyes sunken, half dead, like he was running on fumes. I cast my line, hands trembling, but my gut screamed. Less than a minute later, I reeled it back. "This spot's trash," I yelled to the boys. "Let's bounce." They weren't catching anything either. Rod slack, bait untouched. So they agreed, moving lazily. Packed up, staggered to the car. I was tossing my rod in the trunk when I heard yelling on the other side of the road. "Oi, oi, yeah, you!" Looked over my shoulder. There he was, the muttering man, glaring at me, hyena laughing. Then it hit. Every hair on my body stood up as his shape twisted before my eyes. His legs contorted, a sickening snap, bending into goat hooves, fur bursting through his skin, thick and matted. Ears stretched to sharp points, his snout lengthened, wet and dog-like. He kept laughing, a deep cackle, rocking on those hooves. I froze, shitless. The more I panicked, the clearer he became. Hairy chest, a little vest flapping loose, like some demented Greek satyr. He hopped closer, tormenting me, hooves clacking against the pavement. My vision swam, legs locked, then blackout. I awoke in the truck, parked somewhere else. Jake told me I had been quiet, staring straight ahead, like a zombie. "You okay, buddy?" he asked. I nodded and said yeah, but my head was a jumble. What the hell just happened? We fished some more, I think. I was running on autopilot, zoned out, catching nothing. Days passed, and it wouldn't let up. Shadows shifted strangely whenever I fished alone, quick flashes of hooves between the trees. Gone when I blinked. One evening, back on the pier with the boys, I saw her again. Same location, brushing her hair, mirror in hand, humming low and eerie. Didn't say anything to Jake or Tom, just stood there, heart hammering. The kid was nowhere to be seen, but a whisper drifted across the water. Her sing-song, calling, "Come closer." I noped out quickly, dragged the boys away. Things only got worse. A week later, when I went fishing in the river, I found that gold comb, same one, half buried in muck, glinting like bait. I picked it up, feeling stupid for even touching it. That evening, I had a dream about her. White hair now, wild and messy, red eyes blazing, sitting on the pier. She smiled, pointed at me, and the goat man danced around her, laughing, his vest flapping. I woke up with the comb on my pillow, window locked, door shut. It really frightened me. I threw it in the trash, but the next morning, it was on my nightstand, damp and smelling of salt water. One day, at the bait shop, I met an old fisherman, grey beard, missing teeth. He noticed me staring at the pier through the window and came in close. "You saw her, huh?" he said in a raspy voice, the breath reeking of fish. "Comb lady," I nodded, shivering. "She's old in this town. Take kids, marks 'em. That goat thing's hers, gets whatever she wants." He hit his chest hard. "Saw her in 78. Lost my brother out there. Don't keep her stuff." He shuffled away, leaving me shaken. Online, I dug into it. Witches, half-human creatures with hooves, found stuff about satyrs, half man, half beast, servants to dark witches, deals with the devil, fires in the woods, all that messed up lore. She had to be a witch. That comb, that mirror, her tools, Goatman? Her hunter. Not just a bad high. Then the kid showed up. A couple of weeks later, I was back at the bait shop buying worms. This guy walks in, white as a ghost, shaking, eyes the size of pits. Same kid, I swear on my life. He glared at me, his voice shaking. "You saw her too, didn't you?" Before I could respond, he ran off. Next day, rumors went around. He was gone. Cops found his pole by the pier, line wet, bait gone, no sign of him. Chills ran down my spine. One evening, I went back alone. I was too high to think straight, but I had to face it. Stood at the edge of the pier, waves crashing loudly. She was there, combing, mirror held up. Goatman stood behind her, hooves thudding, grinning huge on his face. I yelled, "What do you want?" She turned slowly. Her face, wrinkled, old, eyes red like embers, locked onto mine. "You," she spat, her voice cutting through the wind. Goatman charged, claws out, but I ran, legs burning, lungs screaming, back to my car. I jumped in, shaking, swearing never to go back. It stuck with me. Even on fishing trips, I hear hooves, clack, in the dark. See her in the water's reflection, combing slowly. Last month, I found hoof prints circling my yard. Huge, deep, freshly pressed into the dirt. Jake thinks I'm crazy. Tom laughs it off. Maybe it's me. I've always pulled weird crap like this. Or maybe I just notice what others miss. A week ago, I got the worst shock yet. Cleaning my tackle box, I found a note. Old, crumpled paper, stuffed in a pocket I never use. The handwriting was shaky. She takes what she marks. Run. Under it, a silver hair. Long, thin, hers. Was it the kid's note? No idea. Burned it, but the smell stayed with me. Rotten, wet fur. That evening, my rod, left in the garage, moved on its own. The line pulled tight, reeling slowly. There was nothing on the hook, but the bait was gone. And the air smelled like her salt and rot. The next shock came yesterday. I woke up to my dog barking loudly, fur standing up, looking at the backyard. I went outside and froze. There was a circle of fish bones, fresh and neatly arranged by the fence. In the center, that cursed comb again, gleaming gold. I buried it deep this time and poured salt over it. A trick I read about in witch lore. Last night, I heard hooves tapping on my roof, slow, deliberate. Then her voice came through the walls. "You can't leave." My dog whined all night and wouldn't go near the windows. I've stopped fishing the pier, sold my rods, cold quit. But I hear her, humming low, dragging that comb through her hair, outside my apartment. This morning, I found 3 deep claw marks on my door. She marked me that night, like the kid. She's not through. If you're fishing, stoned or otherwise, be careful. That comb, that laugh, they're not fantasies, and they're coming for you next.